Hey photography friends, your channel Aperture 1.4 is back with a brand new video. This time, we're diving into one of my favorite tools for creative composition, focusing screens. Modern mirrorless digital cameras often let you overlay grid lines right in the viewfinder, sometimes with multiple layout options. But when it comes to film photography, things are a bit more old school. For those cameras, you need to swap out the focusing screen to get similar guides. In this video, I'll show you some of the most common types of focusing screens and share the ones I personally use, featuring the Canon T90 and some of the first Canon EOS models like the 650, 620, 630, 600, and the RT. To make swapping out focusing screens easier, Canon included a small tool with each screen made for these models. Just one important tip: never touch the screen with your fingers. Focusing screens are super delicate and cannot be cleaned with liquid, not even with optical lens cleaner. Doing so will almost certainly damage the surface beyond repair. Later in the video, I'll show you how to remove a focusing screen from a Canon T90 and install a different one. The process is exactly the same for the early Canon EOS models like the 650, 620, 600, also known as the 630, and the RT. Here you can see a grid focusing screen. It's the one I use the most. Why? Because it offers some great advantages. In architectural photography, it helps you align the camera perfectly parallel to your subject, especially when using a tilt lens to avoid those dreaded converging verticals when tilting the lens upward. In landscape photography, it makes it easier to keep the horizon straight, whether you're capturing the sky or a calm sea. And thanks to the grid layout, it's also a helpful tool for applying compositional rules like the golden ratio more easily. Unfortunately, these types of focusing screens are only available used nowadays. Since I haven't been able to find enough matching grid screens for all my EOS cameras, I've had to turn to other screen types, like the one you see here. This particular screen has a matte Fresnel field with a fine matte center, plus horizontal and vertical scales in millimeters. It's recommended for close-ups, photomicrography, copy work, and architectural photography. Basically, any situation where it's useful to know the size of your subject or the magnification you're working with. All the focusing screens for these EOS cameras carry the designation E, followed by a letter indicating the type like D for the grid screen we talked about earlier, or H for the screen with measurement scales. In addition to the standard C screen with autofocus field markings, Canon offered a total of 6 other focusing screens for these cameras. All of them still allow full autofocus functionality. Some of these screens were designed with photographers in mind who were used to manual focusing, especially types A, B, I, and L, which cater to the preferences and habits of those who relied on manual focus before switching to autofocus systems. Along with the standard E focusing screen for the T90, Canon offered 7 additional screens for this camera. Since the Canon T90 requires manual focusing, it's even more important to choose the right screen for your shooting situation. Unfortunately, the D-type, grid screen, and H-type, screen with measurement scales, don't include any focusing aids, making precise manual focus more challenging. Luckily, I have 2 working Canon T90 bodies. For general shooting, I use the one with the standard E-type screen, which offers 3 different focusing aids so you can pick what works best for you. Split image, microprism, and matte. Fresnel are possible according to preference. When I'm specifically shooting architecture or landscapes with the T90, I switch to my second T90 body. That one is equipped with the D-type grid focusing screen. If you're hunting for focusing screens for your cameras on big online platforms, make sure to check the listings and especially the photos very carefully. I've often seen sellers list a screen with its original packaging, but they just copy the label on the box without actually checking which screen is inside, or maybe they simply don't know how to identify the different screen types at all. What usually happens is this: when someone replaces a focusing screen, often the standard one, they'll put the removed screen into the box of the new screen for storage, just like I do myself. And that's where the confusion starts. I've personally received the wrong screen, one that didn't match the listing, twice already. As you can see, the focusing screens for the T90 and the early EOS models aren't really any different. The tool used to insert or remove the screen is the same, and the entire process is identical. That said, I can't tell you whether a T90 focusing screen will fit into an EOS camera or vice versa. And honestly, I'm not willing to try it either. These cameras are just too dear to me, and I'd rather not risk damaging them. Canon is very clear on this. T90 screens are for the T90, and EOS screens are for EOS cameras. Now I'll show you how to remove the existing screen and install a new one using a Canon T90 as the example. Once you have a clear view of your camera's mirror, carefully insert the tool without touching the mirror. Make sure not to press the blue release button at this stage. Insert the tool far enough so it fully covers the focusing screen you want to remove. Then press the tool gently but firmly against the screen until it clicks into place. You'll hear a distinct click here in the video. Next, tilt the handle of the tool downward while pressing the release button. The focusing screen will be unlocked and can now be carefully removed from the camera. After that, I use a blower to thoroughly clean out the entire mirror box. Of course, I also make sure the new focusing screen is completely dust-free, especially the side that will face the prism. Once the screen is installed, that side can't be cleaned without removing it again. Slide the tool with its two gripping arms into the groove on the edge of the focusing screen holder and press it down until the tool locks firmly onto the screen. In my case, it didn't really lock securely, as you'll see in the video. Make sure the single notch on the screen's frame is pointing toward the release button. Carefully insert the tool with the screen into the mirror box, between the bottom edge of the mirror box and the coupling lever. Be careful not to touch the mirror or the padding. That's the mirror dampening foam. Position the screen correctly and gently push the tool's handle upward until the focusing screen clicks firmly into place. You'll hear a clear click. Then, with a light push forward and downward, the tool will release from the screen and you can remove it from the mirror box. Make sure not to press the blue release button during this process. I store the removed focusing screen, the tool, and the screen's instruction manual together in its original packaging. Finally, I give the mirror box a good blast with the blower to make sure it's completely clean. And what does the view through the T90 look like with the newly installed grid focusing screen? See for yourself, I think it was totally worth it. Thanks again for your time and interest. Stay healthy and see you in the next video.